I do know that feet pics are a very popular internet thing these days. Maybe not for me, but we do get a lot of pictures of feet when we're looking at floor cracks because a lot of people are worried about their floor cracks. And what should you be worried about with them? A lot of times we get, hey, I got these cracks in my floor. Should I be concerned? Are they structural? What's going on here? And the answer is it could be anything, right? Just like most concrete issues. For the most part, concrete floor cracks are considered non-structural issues. The concrete floor is a separate floating piece of concrete that is not structurally tied into any part of the foundation. Sometimes it is, but more often than not, it's really just there as a continuous slab to help prevent any sort of water coming up, etc. The advantage of having a clean floor without any sort of cracks in there is that you really provide a nice barrier to the earth underneath. And so when you have floor cracks, why should you be concerned about them if they're not structural in general? Why should you be concerned about them? Well, they do allow things to come from under up. So obviously water can come up from underneath if you have a water table issue. We always see cracks that are spitting water during high water table issues. We have radon gases that come up. So if you live in an area with high radon, which is pretty much all of New England for the most part, which is why we test it in the state of Massachusetts as part of a home sale. Any cracks in the foundation floor is going to be a prime area for radon gases to come in and elevate radon levels. And why is that a concern? Well, radon is directly linked with cancer. So we need to make sure that those levels are appropriate. And then other things like termites and bugs, ants, we see a lot of those issues coming up and through. Sometimes we'll see photos of people where there's actually sand all around these and there are actually ants kind of coming up from underneath, as well as termites, which is obviously wood-boring insects, which you don't want in your house. The other thing that we have is kind of that musty basement smell, that breakdown of organic debris, which should be underneath the house. That smell comes up through cracks. Even if there's no water coming through, you can have that damp, musty basement smell coming through there. And if you're ever to go to refinish a basement, the floor cracks, whatever you put on there, whether it's a tile or a carpet or a laminate flooring, that area where the crack is going to bring up moisture relative to the warm basement. So you'll get kind of a path along these foundation cracks that actually will cause moisture, which will then cause that smelling, that mustiness, and also can delaminate flooring and tile. When they are structural, usually there's heaving, usually they're associated with displacement. You might see them tied directly into a wall crack where you have one crack on one side of the house, one crack on the other side of the house, and there's a line that chases across the floor. By itself, the crack is not structural, but it's usually part of a structural issue. So these are things that can be rectified and strengthened. So is it, when you have hairline ones that you couldn't even stick your fingernail in, there's products that we use to be able to spray apply on there to help bridge the gap, to help keep any sort of moisture transmission down. When you get above a 1/16 of an inch, usually that's where we can actually get into repairing. When you're above a 1/2 inch, now you're looking at cutting out and replacing, or it's tied into a much larger structural issue. So it's really important to know, sometimes you get this spider web cracking or spider web, you see it right just surface level. A lot of that's just due to poor finishing of the concrete and they're very superficial. But when you're seeing something that's a 1/16 of an inch or larger, usually these are ones that can be repaired. And they should be repaired as part of the plan to kind of keep the basement as an isolated space from the environment around it, which would be all below ground. So even though they're not structural, it is usually advisable to repair them. The other area where we see a lot of foundation floor cracks is in the garage. And this usually deteriorates very quickly for two reasons. One, we are usually, bringing heavy equipment into garages, even if it's not a car. You're bringing lawnmowers and snow blowers and storage and everything like that. And then if you are bringing a vehicle into a garage, it's usually carrying in a lot of salts and debris from the roads, especially during the wintertime. and that will very quickly deteriorate the concrete. And when you have a crack in there, it usually makes it deteriorate even faster. So what can be a very simple and easy repair can very quickly escalate into a full foundation or a garage floor repair or removal and replace, which can be tens of thousands of dollars, and really, it can be avoidable if you get ahead of it earlier. So not something to ignore, not something to lose sleep over, because there's usually solutions for everything. Just a matter about identifying it and figuring out what the right path is for that particular crack.